All right, so it's now recorded. All right, so the last time, the previous meetings that we have under auditing problems that pinag-aralan natin yung analysis of accounts. So, nag-aralan natin yung analysis of accounts, nagbigay tayo ng example, paano ba yung movement, what are the guidelines in properly using T-accounts approach, how to create a financial statements using the T-accounts approach. And then, all right, okay. Okay, and then, ayan. Napag-aralan din natin yung isang example. I gave one example regarding accounts receivable, notes receivable, and advances from customers. Dito na-check natin ano yung relationship ng iba't ibang account sa bawat isa. Napag-aralan din natin yung one exercise, number 7, kung saan pinag-aralan naman natin yung analysis ng raw materials, work in process inventory, saka finished goods inventory. We also discussed other receivables, advance from customers, allowance for bad debts, interest receivables as other receivables, prepayments, equipment, accumulated depreciation, and other accounts. Paano yung movement nila, paano sila lumalaki, paano sila lumiliit. So napag-aralan natin lahat yan. Alright. So ano na po yung natapos natin na problem, yung huli nating problem?
Problem 8 po, sir.
Alright, problem 8. Alright, sige po, sige po. So let's continue doing problem 8. Ayan. Okay, ayan. Alright. So wait for a moment, class. Alright. Okay, so problem 8. Let's go now with the problem 8. Okay. 5, 6, 7. And then problem 8. Alright. So sa problem 8 natin, okay. Problem 8, yung huli na po natin na sagutan is ano po kayang item sa problem 8?
Number 3 po.
Number 3. I see, number 3. Okay, so ulitin nga natin. Ayan. So na-compute na natin yung number 1, total sales. Our answer is 1,380,000 pesos. That's letter B. Number 2 is purchases, gross purchases. Our answer is letter D, 763,790. And then our answer for number 3 is letter A, 719,290. Now let's go on item number 4, gain or loss on sale of equipment. So before we try to answer the gain or loss on sale of equipment, let's try to read again the problem. So ano ba yung sinabi ng problem? Balikan natin. Problem 8. You were engaged to audit the financial statements of Cincinnati Corporation on January 15, 2021. Presented below is a copy of the trial balance as of January 2 and December 31, 2020, given by the company's accountant. So ito yung trial balance. So hindi ko nababanggitin yung mga details ng trial balance kasi napag-usapan na natin ito the last time. No formal books of accounts have been kept during 2020. The following information has been gathered from checkbooks, deposit slips, and other sources. So meron pong binigay. Most balance sheet account balances at December 31, 2020 have been determined and recorded on the worksheet. Cash receipts for the year. So yan yung cash receipts for the year. We have advances from customers, cash sales, sale of equipment, 45,000. Cash disbursement for the year are as summarized as follows. All right. Ayan. Okay. All right. So how do we compute for the gain or loss on sale of equipment? Class, paano tayo magko-compute ng gain or loss on sale of equipment? So do you have any idea? Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah.
Sales po sir less equipment. Yung net po ng
That's
equipment.
that's
Equals
correct.
gain
Huh?
on
So
sale
yes,
or
that's
loss.
correct. So how do we compute for the gain or loss on sale of equipment? First is we have to identify the sales value or the cash proceeds received from the sale of the equipment. Nakukuha po ba? So yeah. So from the selling price or the cash proceeds of the uh, equipment or the property, plant, and equipment, we have to deduct the carrying value of the property, plant, and equipment. So, dyan po, makukuha natin kung merong gain or loss on sale of equipment. So, yan yung general rule natin. So, from the selling price, you have to deduct the carrying value or the book value of the property, plant, and equipment in order for us to uh, get or obtain the gain or loss on sale of equipment. How can we say, or how do we say so that there is a gain on sale of property, plant, and equipment? Paano po natin masasabi na merong gain on sale of property, plant, and equipment? When, yes, Jean May.
Kapag mataas po yung selling price or yung equipment na nabenta natin kaysa po sa carrying amount po ng equipment.
That's correct. So there is a gain on sale of property, plant, and equipment kapag yung selling price or cash proceeds is greater than the carrying value, book value, or carrying amount of the property, plant, and equipment. So meron po doong gain. That will result to gain. How about kapag loss? Ano naman po ang mapapansin natin kapag may loss on sale? So how do we say so if there is a loss on sale? Yes, Erica.
Kapag mas maliit po yung selling price kaysa po
Yes,
sa
that's correct. So tama po
rent.
yan. Tama si Erica. So tama si Jean May, tama si Erica. So sabi ni Jean May kanina, kapag mas malaki yung selling price kaysa sa carrying amount ng property, plant, and equipment, then merong gain. And then tama naman si Erica, so kabaligtaran, kapag mas maliit naman yung selling price or cash proceeds kaysa doon sa carrying amount or carrying value ng property, plant, and equipment, then that will result to loss on sale of property, plant, and equipment. So the formula pala is to have uh, the selling price or the cash proceeds minus the carrying value or book value of the property, plant, and equipment. So applying the data of the problem, doon sa problem, magkano yung selling price or cash proceeds doon sa equipment. Yes po. Yes, Luella. So magkano po, class? Anyone? Magkano po yung nakikita niyo dito, class? Magkano ang selling?
45,000.
45,000. Yes, 45,000. So that means to say the cash proceeds is 45,000 less the book value of the equipment. How do we compute for the book value of the equipment? That's cost minus the accumulated depreciation. Magkano yung cost based on the problem?
50,000 po.
50,000. So the cost is 50,000 while the accumulated depreciation is
10,000.
10,000. So you have a book value of
40,000.
40,000 pesos. Yan, all right. So magkano yung gain on sale?
5,000.
5,000.
5,000. So your answer for number 4 is letter C. 5,000. So let's check kung tama po ba. Number 4 is letter C, 5,000. Gain or loss on sale of equipment. So meron pa po ba? Number 5, utilities expense. So, kapag na-imagine natin yung utilities expense, ano kaya yung best account na pwedeng gamitin?
Utilities payable.
Utilities payable.
Utilities payable. So, normally, utilities payable siya kapag wala, wala naman kasing prepaid utilities, no? So, utilities payable or accrued utilities. So, gawa tayo ng key account for utilities payable. Ano yung normal balance ng utilities payable? Debit or credit?
Credit po.
Credit po.
Credit. So, lagay natin ang beginning balance sa credit. Lagay naman natin ang ending balance sa debit. Paano lumalaki ang utilities payable kapag
May expense.
Expenses.
may expenses? And then, paano siya lumiliit kapag merong
Payment.
Payment po.
That's correct. So, applying the problems, the data on the given problems, magkano po ang beginning balance ng utilities payable?
5,500.
5,500. All right. Okay. So, lagyan natin. So, another tip, no? Nasabi ko na to last time. Kapag nakita ninyo yung amount, lagyan nyo na ng tick mark para hindi kayo malito. So, beginning balance is 5,500 and then ending balance?
9,650.
9,650. So, your ending balance is 9,650. How about the payments? Do we have payments for utilities?
18,500.
18,500. So, your payment is 18,500. Kaya na po bang computein ang expenses, utilities expense?
Yes po.
Yes po, sir.
Yes po.
22,650.
22,650 po.
22,650. Based on the problem, magkano, ano po yung letter?
Letter D.
Letter D.
D
So,
daw.
answer for number 5 is letter D. So, utilities expense is 22,650. Number 6, bad debts expense. So, balikan natin yung problem. Anong sabi? Expected credit losses are estimated to be 1.2% of the total sales. So 1.2% daw ng total sales per year. The ending accounts receivable has a balance of 187,000. Nakuha na natin to for AR. Has been reduced by 6,500 for specific accounts which were written off as uncollectible. Ayan. Okay. So, dalawang klase kasi ng approach, how do we compute for bad debts? So, dalawang approach po yun. Ano po yung dalawang approach po na yun, class? If you can remember. Yes, Erica.
Direct write-off method, tsaka po allowance method.
Yes, that's correct na. So, meron tayong tinatawag na direct write-off. Ayan. Direct write-off method and then allowance method. So, sa direct write-off method, ano pong meron dito? Nagre-recognize lang tayo ng bad debts if it is considered as worthless. Diba? Kapag worthless na yung account, yung certain account, then that is the time that we will record bad debts. So worthless. Worthless na yung account na yon. Kaya siya tinatawag na direct write-off. So how do we record a direct write-off? A bad debts expense. So you debit. Paano po tayo nag-record ng direct write-off?
Bad debt expense.
Yes, that's correct. Debit, bad debts expense. Ayan. So debit, bad debts expense. And then you credit
Accounts receivable.
Accounts receivable.
accounts receivable. So from the word itself, direct write-off, ibig sabihin, direktang nira-write off yung worthless accounts doon sa accounts receivable. We only recognize bad debts expense here if it is proven to be worthless. While in the allowance method, ano naman sa allowance method? Sa allowance method naman, we recognize bad debts based, diba? Based on the collectibility of such receivable. So, nagbibigay pa tayo ng allowance. We are still hoping. So parang ganun yung sinasabi ng allowance method. Sa allowance method, naniniwala pa kami na makokolekta namin yan. So ang gagawin naming entry, hindi kami magre-record ng direct write-off to accounts receivable, but instead, we will recognize bad debts expense. So you debit bad debts expense, and then you credit an
Allowance for
allowance.
bad debt.
Yes, allowance for bad debts. So yan yung sinasabi na allowance method. Kasi you are using an allowance account para ma-monitor mo magkano na yung na bad debts ko, na i-record ko as bad debts. So yan po yun. So ganyan po yun. Now, etong method na to is method on how to record bad debts from the accounting point of view. So, anong tawag dito? This is the method, yan, lagyan natin dito, method of recording bad debts. Yan. Okay, so that is the method of recording the bad debts. All right. Meron tayong tinatawag na estimating bad debts naman. So how do we estimate bad debts? Dalawang klase rin ang approach. So estimating bad debts. How do we estimate bad debts? Meron po ba kayong idea, class? How do we estimate bad debts, class? All right. So yes, Princess.
Ano sir, yung sa percentage of sales po, tsaka yung percentage of sa AR.
Tama po yun. No? So tama yun. Ang una nating alam, kasi yun yung tinuro sa libro, based on percentage of sales, saka based on accounts receivable. That is correct. However, if we are expanding more our knowledge pagdating sa pag-estimate ng bad debts, dalawang klase ng approach ang meron. First one is the income statement approach, and then the second one is the balance sheet approach. Ayan po yun. So ano yung income statement approach saka balance sheet approach? Yung income statement approach, it records bad debts, pero ang nare-record niya talaga, nakafocus siya sa bad debts expense. So when every time a company or an entity estimates bad debts using income statement approach, ang nakukuha niya sa computation niya ay bad debts expense. So ano yung example ng income statement approach? Yun po yung sinabi kanina. Based sa percentage of sales. So yung percentage of sales, it could be a percentage of total sales or a percentage of net sales, or it could be a percentage of net credit sales. So income statement approach po yun. Another one is the balance sheet approach. Ano naman sa balance sheet approach? Kapag nag-record ka ng, nag-estimate ka ng bad debts using balance sheet approach, ang nakukuha nyo ay ang required ending balance ng allowance for doubtful account. Alright. Okay. So, nagigets po ba, class? Nakukuha po ba?
Yes po, sir.
Ayan. So, pag income statement approach, anong nako-compute? Bad debts expense. Kapag balance sheet approach, ang nako-compute, required ending balance ng allowance for bad debts or allowance for doubtful account. Ano yung mga example ng balance sheet approach? Yun yung sinabi kanina. Based sa percentage ng accounts receivable or based sa aging ng accounts receivable. So, pwede po yan. Marami kasing method for balance sheet approach. Alright. So, let's try naman to compute yung sinabi ng number 6, bad debts expense daw. So, saan tayo titingin? Expected credit losses are estimated to be 1.2% of total sales for the year. So, ano yung approach na ginamit nila? Balance sheet approach or income statement approach?
Balance sheet approach.
Statement.
Ano po yung
Income
ginamit?
statement po.
Income statement approach. That's correct, na? Sa income statement approach kasi based sa total sales. So sinabi daw based sa total sales. So pagbigyan natin, total sales. So yun po. Magkano yung total sales na nakuha natin? The last time. Magkano po kayo yung total sales na nakuha natin? Balikan natin yung sagot natin.
1,380,000.
1,380,000. So, ayan. So, our answer here for the total sales is 1,380,000. And then, based daw sa percentage of sales, ilang percent yung hinihingi? 1.2%. So, magkano? Ano pala makukuha natin dito? Bad debts expense or ending balance ng doubtful account?
Bad debt.
Budget expense po.
Bad debts expense. So, ang ginamit natin is expected credit loss. Bakit? Kasi nakasulat dyan, expected credit loss. Pero, ang sabi naman dito, bad debts expense. So, any will do. So, ayan yung binigay nung questionnaire, nung examiner. Remember, we cannot question the wisdom of the examiner. Kung nilagay niya dito expected credit losses, tapos hinahanap niya is bad debt expense, since pareho naman sila, we can follow this one. So, palitan natin. Bad debts expense. So, isa sa pinaka rule sa pagsagot, we cannot question the wisdom of the examiner unless the totality of the question is really erroneous. Sobrang mali, we need to give it as a bonus. Pero ito, wala namang mali. Gusto lang yan ng examiner. So therefore, we cannot question the wisdom of the examiner. So magkano yung bad debts expense natin? 16,560. So upon looking our item number 6, meron po bang 16,560 dito?
Letter B. Meron po.
Letter B. So answer for number 6 is letter B. Bad debts expense is 16,560. Number 7, net income. So paano natin mako-compute yung net income kung hindi pa tapos lahat? Alright. So compute muna natin yung iba. Insurance expense. So ano kaya yung best T account para ma-compute yung insurance expense?
Prepaid insurance po.
Prepaid insurance. Alright. So let's try to compute the prepaid insurance. Balikan natin yung trial balance kung may prepaid insurance. Okay. May prepaid insurance po ba?
Yes,
Yes,
po.
may prepaid insurance. Pero yung term niya is unexpired insurance. Then we will follow their terminology, unexpired insurance. Normal balance ng unexpired insurance, debit or credit?
Debit po.
Debit.
Debit.
Debit po. Lagay natin beginning balance sa debit, ending balance sa credit. Paano lumalaki ang unexpired insurance?
Kapag may payment po.
Kapag may payment. And then paano siya lumiliit? Kapag may
Expense.
Expenses.
expense. Ayan, that's correct. So merong expenses. Magkano ang beginning balance ng unexpired insurance?
3,500.
3,500. So 3,500. Ending balance?
2,000.
2,000.
2,000 pesos. So that's 2,000. Meron po bang payments? Hanapin natin.
8,250.
Ayan. 8,250.
50.
Tama po ba? Ayan. All right. So kaya na po bang computein yung expense? Insurance
Yes, po.
expense.
Yes po.
Magkano po?
9,770.
9,750. So let's check the problem. Insurance expense. Answer is letter
D.
Letter D. All right. So number 9 is letter D. Insurance expense, 9,750. Number 10, salaries expense. What will be the best T account to use to compute for the salaries expense?
Salaries payable.
That's correct. Salaries payable. So anong normal balance ng salaries payable?
Credit.
Credit. So beginning balance is on the credit side. Lagay natin yung ending balance sa debit side. Paano lumalaki ang salaries payable? Kapag may
Expense.
expense. Lumiliit siya kapag merong
Payment.
payments. Alright. So, balikan natin yung trial balance. May salaries payable po ba?
6,000.
6,000. So, our beginning balance is 6,000 and our ending balance is
15,950.
1,950. That's correct. Meron po bang payments? Check natin yung payments.
430,700 po.
430,700. So the payment salaries paid is 430,700. Kaya na po bang computein yung expense? Salaries expense.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Alright. So magkano po?
440,650.
440,650. Balikan yung problem. Meron po bang 440,650?
Letter C
Letter
po.
C po.
Is letter C. So number 10 is letter C. Salaries expense, 440,650. Number 11, allowance for credit losses or allowance for expected credit losses. So, syempre yung T account, allowance for expected credit losses. So yan. So gawa tayo. Allowance for expected credit losses. Anong normal balance ng allowance for expected credit losses?
Credit side.
Credit. So beginning balance nasa credit, ending balance nasa debit. Paano lumalaki ang allowance for expected credit losses?
Pag may
Budget expense.
Kapag may budget
Kapag may
expense or expected credit loss.
Expected credit loss.
Tapos may recovery. And then paano siya lumiliit kapag merong
Right off.
Right. That's correct. So magkano ang beginning balance? Magkano pa ang beginning balance ng
Wala po.
wala. All right. So wala siyang beginning balance. Okay, wala nga. Okay, wala po. So answer for beginning balance is 0. Ending balance, yun ba yung hinahanap natin? Yun yung hinahanap natin, di ba? So meron po ba
Yes.
tayong expected credit loss?
16,560 po yung na-compute ko.
16,560. Yan yung na-compute natin kanina. Recoveries, meron po ba?
6,500. Oh, wala. Write-off po pala yun.
Wala po.
Write-off po siya. So here, the recoveries is 0 as well. Write-off is 6,000.
6,500.
Kaya na po bang computein yung ending balance?
Yes po.
Yes po.
So, magkano po?
10,000.
10,060 po.
10,060. So, meron po bang 10,060 doon sa ating hinahanap?
Boy po.
Letter B.
Number
B po.
11 is boy. That's correct. So, number 11 is boy, 10,060. Okay? Dividend. Dito muna tayo sa dividend. So, anong meron sa dividend? Balikan natin. Dividends of 75 centavos per share declared on June 30, September 30, and December 31. So ilang beses nag-declare ng dividend ang company? Ilang beses po nag-declare?
Tatlo po.
Tatlo po.
So kapag 3 beses nag-declare, ibig sabihin 3 beses na magre-release ng dividendo. So hanap tayo. Ayan. Dito na lang. So, nag-declare daw nung June 30, September 30, saka December 31. Anong hinahanap? Hanapin natin. Dividend. When we say dividend, that means to say that is the total dividends declared. So, sinabi lang dividend, di ba? So, pag sinabing dividend dito, walang sinabi kung dividends payable, dividend lang siya, or dividends. Ang hinahanap ng problem is dividends declared, not dividends payable. So, kapag dividends payable, iba yung computation natin. Pero pag dividend lang, ibig sabihin dividends declared. So, ilang shares meron sa company? That's 1 million divided by 100 pesos.
10,000 shares.
10,000 shares po.
Shares. Tapos magkano ang dividend per share?
0.75.
75 centavos. So So, nag-declare nung June 30, 10,000 shares times 75 centavos. Magkano po yun?
7,500.
7,500.
Noong September 30, nag-declare din, 7,500. December 31, nag-declare ulit, 7,500. Magkano yung total dividends declared?
22,500.
22,500. So your answer for number 8 is
D.
Dog. D
the
dog.
answer is dog. Your answer for number 8 is dog. Pero kapag ang hinanap ay dividends payable, what will be your answer?
7,500.
That's 7,500. Kasi anong sabi dito sa problem? Meron nang binayaran na dividends. So lumalabas itong first two na to, bayad na to. Kasi 15,000 yung dalawa na yan. So lumalabas yung dividends payable na lang is 7,500. Pero ang hinahanap kasi is dividends declared. So your answer is 22,500. All right. Okay. So number 7, net income. So let's try to compute for the net income. So paano mag-compute ng net income? Mag-umpisa muna tayo doon sa gross sales. So magkano ang gross sales natin, class?
1,380,000.
1,380,000 less sales returns and allowances saka sales discounts. So magkano ang sales returns and allowances po ninyo?
15,200.
Sales returns and allowances?
19,400.
19,400. And then sales
Discounts po
discount
pala.
is 15,200. Magkano ang inyong net sales?
1,345,400.
1,345,400. That's correct. And then, less cost of sales. So, magkano ang inyong cost of sales? Magkano pa ang cost of sales, class?
719,290.
719,290. Less, makukuha natin is gross profit. Magkano ang gross profit?
626,110.
626,110 pesos. Less operating expenses. So ano yung meron sa operating expense? Yung na-compute natin, salaries expense. Magkano yung salaries expense?
440,650.
440,650 less insurance expense. Magkano yung na-compute natin insurance expense?
9,750.
9,750.
750.
And then utilities expense,
22,650.
22,650. And then next is depreciation expense. Magkano yung depreciation expense natin?
21,500.
21,500. Paano nakuha? Binigay ng problem. 'Di ba? 4,000 saka 17,500. Tama po ba? All right.
Yes,
And
sir.
last is the bad debts expense or expected credit loss. Magkano po?
16,560.
16,560. So you get the operating profit. Magkano yung operating profit ninyo?
115,000.
115,000. Add other income. Ano yung other income nyo? Gain on
Gain on
sale
sale.
of PPE. Magkano po?
5,000.
5,000 po.
5,000. So you get the net income. Magkano yung net income natin?
120,000.
So meron po ba dito 120,000 sa number 7?
Letter A.
Letter A po.
Yes. So answer for number 7 is letter A. So net income is 120,000 pesos. So kaya-kaya na po ba sagutan? Madali lang po, di ba? Madali lang naman, class, for the analysis of accounts. Tama po ba?
Medyo po.
Yes po.
Okay, so madaling-madali lang. Okay, so let's go now to our other problems. So let's try naman yung other problems. kayang maganda. Exercise 1, dahil hindi pa natin ito nasasagutan. Your examination of the financial statements of Mobile Legends Company disclosed the following transactions during the year. The company paid 1-year insurance premium of 36,000 pesos effective April 1, 2021. So, nagbayad pala sila ng insurance premium. And then, ikalawa, during 2021, Mobile Legends bought office supplies totaling 15,000 pesos. At the end of the year, unused office supplies amounted to 4,000 pesos. Requirement: prepare original journal entries to record the above transactions and the corresponding adjusting entries on December 31, 2021 using the asset method and expense method. And then, ikalawa, by how much would profit of 2021 be misstated if no adjustments were made at the end of the year? So, let's go. Let's try to answer. Ayan, exercise 1. So, ang sabi kasi, mag-record daw using asset method and expense method. When we record expense, dalawang klase yung method na pwede natin gamitin. Asset method or expense method. Kapag asset method, we initially record the transaction as an asset, as if meron siyang benefit doon sa company. And then kapag expense, we record it as an outright expense. Pero syempre, itong dalawang method na to, hindi naman sila perfect. At the end of the year, we still need to adjust or make an adjustment for any unused kapag expense method or for any used portion kapag asset method. So, what will be our entry for number 1? What will be our entry for number 1? Kapag sa insurance premium? Yes, Jinmi.
Under asset method po,
Apa.
debit prepaid insurance, 36,000. Credit cash, 36,000.
All right. Okay. So entry is prepaid insurance, 36,000, and then credit cash, 36,000. And then under expense method, what will be our entry kapag expense method? Yes, Gab.
Under expense method naman po, debit insurance expense 36,000, credit cash 36,000.
36,000. That's correct. All right. So for number 2, bumili daw ng office supplies. So what will be our entry if asset method? Yes, Nicole.
Debit
Yes.
po, office supplies, 15,000. And then credit po is cash na 15,000.
Yes, that's correct. No? So office supplies, or pwede nyo gamitin office supplies unused, 15,000, and then credit cash, 15,000. So lakihan ko muna. Ayan. Okay. And then, paano pag-expense method? Anyone from the class? Yes, Jennifer. Kapag
Debit office supplies expense, credit 15,000, credit cash 15,000.
all right. 15,000, 15,000. That's correct. So, ito yung dalawang transaction na hiningi ng problem. So, pinagawa tayo ng original journal entry. So, it's okay. And then, at the end of the year daw, ano pang required sa atin? Pinapagawa tayo ng adjusting journal entries. So, gawa tayo ng adjusting entries. So, yan. Adjusting entries, adjusting entries. What will be our adjusting entries at December 31, 2021? Assuming we are using the asset method. So, what will be our adjusting entry? Yes, Kristen Joyce.
Ano po, debit insurance expense, 27,000. Credit prepaid insurance, 27,000.
Yes, that's correct. No? Kasi yung 27,000, ito yung used na prepaid insurance. So, naging insurance expense na siya. So, our entry for the consumed office supplies will be debit to yes, Nicole Ann.
Um, office supplies expense po na 11,000 and then credit office supplies unused na 11,000 po.
That's correct. All right. How about kapag expense method naman yung ginamit natin? So anyone from the class kapag expense? Yes, Reina.
Sa insurance pa rin po ba, sir?
Yes,
Sorry.
pa. Kapag insurance.
Debit prepaid insurance 9,000 and credit insurance expense 9,000.
9,000. That's correct. And how about for the office supplies? Sophia.
Debit office supplies 4,000, credit office supplies expense 4,000.
That's correct. All right. So tama, nakuha na natin yung ating um, original journal entries saka adjusting journal entries. Mas okay kasi mag-create ng adjusting journal entries kapag nakikita natin yung original journal entries. Ito yung problema sa atin nung first year tayo. Hindi kasi natin ma-figure out yung original journal entry na ginawa natin before. So, para mas madali sa atin, kailangan makita muna natin yung original journal entry bago tayo gumawa ng adjusting journal entry. Second one na question. By how much would the profit of 2021 be misstated if no adjustments were made at the end of the year? Dito muna tayo kay asset method. So yan. So tingnan natin si asset method. Ano daw yung effect ng insurance at the end of the year kay net income? Will the net income be overstated or understated? Anyone from the class? Will the net income be overstated or understated? Yes, Jean May.
Yung net income po, mag-overstated po siya ng 27,000 po.
Yes, so that's correct, no? Overstated siya by 27,000. So kung overstated ang net income by 27,000, ibabawas or idadagdag natin sa net income? Ibabawas ba or idadagdag natin?
Ibabawas, sir.
Ibabawas.
That's correct. So tama po yun. So kapag ibabawas, lagyan nyo ng parentheses. So deduct 27,000. What will be the effect nung office supplies sa net income natin kapag at the end of the year, hindi nagkaroon ng adjustments? Will it be overstated or understated? Will it be overstated or understated? Yes, Rexry.
Overstated po ng 11,000.
That's correct. So overstated na 11,000. So ibabawas din natin siya. How much will be the total overstatement? Magkano total overstatement natin?
38,000.
38,000 pesos.
38,000.
Overstated. That's correct. So 38,000 pesos overstated. So let's try to look naman doon sa expense method. Ayan. So check natin expense method. What will be the effect ng insurance expense assuming hindi na i-record yung insurance expense as adjustment? Sorry, yung prepaid insurance pala. Hindi na i-record yung prepaid insurance at the end of the year as adjustment. So what will be the effect? Anyone from the class? Yes, John Harold.
Ano po, understated ng 9,000.
Understated siya by 9,000 pesos. So kapag understated, John Harold, idadagdag or ibabawas sa net income?
Idadagdag po.
Idadagdag. So that's correct. And then for the office supplies, ano kaya ang effect sa net income kung hindi makaka-record ng unused office supplies at the end of the year? So anyone from the class? Yes, Shelly.
Understated din po siya ng 4,000.
Understated ng 4,000. So idadagdag din natin. So how much is the total of understatement?
13,000.
13,000 understated. So yan po yung effect niya sa both asset method and expense method. Ayan. Okay. So nakikita pa naman po yung screen ko, class?
Yes po.
Alright. Okay. So yan po ang ating answer for exercise number 1. So let's go for exercise number 2. Deferred revenues. You were engaged to the audit of the financial statements of League of Legends Company for the year 2021. A review of the accounts revealed the following transactions. Number one, received 12,000 pesos from a lessee on October 1, 2021, representing 1 year advance rental. Number two, collected 40,000 from a client on November 1, 2021. This amount represents advance payment for services to be rendered over a 5-month period. At the end of the year, 20% of this amount has been earned. So anong requirement? Prepare the original journal entries to record the above transactions and the corresponding adjusting entries on December 31, 2021 using the liability method and income method. Another one is by how much would be the profit be misstated if no adjustments were made at the end of the year. So kapag nagre-record pala tayo ng advance payment, pwede nating i-record siya using the two method. Ayan. Liability method, tapos, liability method and then income method. So, yan. So, pwedeng i-record as liability method and then income method. So, siyempre, pinapagawa tayo, una, original journal entries. So, pinapagawa tayo ng original journal entries. Tapos, pinapagawa din tayo ng adjusting journal entries. Ayan. So, gawa natin adjusting journal entries. So, kailan daw nagbayad for advance rental si lessee? October 1, 2021. So, lagay natin yung date, October 1. October 1, 2021. So, what will be our entry doon sa number 1 transaction no October 1? Anyone from the class? Yes. Vanessa.
Debit cash 12,000 and credit rent income 12,000.
Kapag liability method, so ulitin po ulit natin. What will be our entry? For?
Kapag liability method po, debit cash 36,000, credit unearned rent income 36,000.
36,000. So, pwede po bang paulit?
12,000 po pala, sir. Sorry.
12,000. Alright, okay. So, ayan. So, tama naman, diba? So, okay lang yan. It's okay. That's normal for us, diba? Debit cash, 12,000 and then credit, unearned rent income. So, tama po yung sinabi, diba? Alright. And then another one. Yes, Stacy. What will be our entry naman kapag income method?
Debit cash, credit rent income po.
Debit cash,
12,000.
credit rent income. So 12,000, 12,000. That's correct. And then, okay. For the second transaction, ano naman yung entry natin for the advance payment ng services ni client. Si client yung nagbayad sa atin. So what will be our entry? Debit. Debit. Yes, Erica.
Debit cash, 40,000. Credit unearned service revenue, 40,000.
That's correct. So 40,000. And then what will be our entry under income method, Carlos?
Debit cash 40,000, credit service income or revenue 40,000.
That's correct. Ayan. So at the end of the year, syempre hindi naman to fairly stated. Kailangan natin ng adjustment in order to state it very fairly para ma-present siya very fairly. So mag-create tayo ng adjusting journal entries at the end of the year. So doon sa unearned rent income, under liability method, how much is still unearned? How much of the unearned rent income is already earned? So ilang months po?
3 months.
3 months. All right. So what will be our entry? Hershey. What will be our entry, Hershey?
Sa liability method po,
Yes,
Debit unearned rent income, 3,000. Credit rent income, 3,000.
that's correct. So tama po. How about kapag income method naman, Princess?
Debit rent income 9,000. Credit unearned rent income 9,000.
All right. Okay, okay. That's correct. So tama po. So for the service income naman, so applying the liability method, magkano yung na-earned out of unearned service income sa number 2? So what will be your entry here? What will be your entry here, Nicole Ann? So number 2.
An ano po? Unearned service income 8,000 and then service income 8,000 po.
That's correct. So tama po. So assuming income method naman yung ginamit. So what will be the adjusting entry under the income method? Salve.
Service income debit sir 32,000. Credit unearned service revenue 32,000.
That's correct. So tama po. All right. So nagawa na natin siya. So what will be the effect? Tama po ba? What will be the effect sa profit kapag na-misstate naman siya at the end of the year? So doon muna tayo sa liability method. Anong effect naman niya sa net income? Tama po ba? So what will be the effect in the net income kapag hindi na i-record itong unearned rent income, yung rent income na 3,000. So what will be the effect?
Understated.
Understated. Alright. So lagay ko lang dito, effect in net income. So effects in net income. Alright. Yan. Lagay natin sa gitna. Okay, yan. So yung 3,000, understated ang net income. So idadagdag ba o ibabawas?
Dadagdag.
Alright. And then for the service income, under or over?
Under.
Understated po.
Under. So idadagdag natin. So how much is the total understatement?
11,000.
11,000. Understated. So applying the second method that we use, income method. By how much would the net income be understated or overstated kapag hindi na record yung unearned rent income? Magkano?
Overstated.
Overstated ng 9,000. Dagdag or bawas sa net income? Bawas natin. And then, unearned service income, dagdag or bawas?
Bawas po. Bawas po.
Bawas. So, total overstatement? 41,000 overstated. So this will be your answer doon sa overstatement. All right. Ayan. Okay. Ayan. All right, class. So do you have any more question with exercise 1 and exercise 2? None so far. None so far. So let's move to exercise 3. So let's try exercise 3 naman. So sa exercise 3, ganun pa din. We will do the following, pero combination na to kasi kanina pinaghiwala yung accruals and deferrals. Ito, deferrals, deferred expense naman dito. Sa baba, deferred revenues. Ito naman, deferrals and accruals. So let's try to read. MUOA Incorporated was organized in 2020 and recorded all transactions using nominal accounts. Transactions during the year included the following. Letter A, paid a premium of 36,000 pesos for a fire insurance policy covering the period August 1, 2020 to August 1, 2021. Received 72,000 pesos representing advance rent for the use of a portion of the company's properties for the period of September 1, 2020 to March 1, 2021. And then letter C, the company received a 90-day, 12%, 200,000 pesos face value note from a customer. The note is dated December 1, 2020. Then letter D, salaries paid on the 5th and 20th day of the month. Monthly salaries are estimated to be 120,000 pesos. Ano daw requirements? Give the necessary adjusting entries as of December 31, 2020. What is the effect on 2020 profit if the above adjustments were omitted? So, tulad ng sinabi ko sa inyo, para hindi kayo mahirapan sa adjusting entries, kailangan gawan muna natin ng original journal entry. All right. So, what will be our original journal entry sa letter A? So, ano kaya yung original journal entry natin sa letter A? Debit? What will be your debit? Anyone from the class?
Prepaid.
Prepaid. What's the answer? Prepaid.
Prepaid insurance po. Paid insurance, credit cash.
Ulit po. Sige nga po.
Prepaid insurance, debit, credit cash.
Insurance expense cash.
Insurance
Sige,
expense.
check natin.
Insurance expense.
Tingnan natin class ha. Ito kasi nakasulat dito, all transactions are recorded using the nominal account. So ano kaya yung nominal account?
Expense and income.
Expense and income. So ibig sabihin, gumagamit sila ng expense method saka income method. Nakuha po ba?
Yes po.
Right. So what will be our entry sa letter A?
Insurance expense.
Debit
Credit
insurance expense and then credit cash. Amount?
36,000.
36,000, 36,000. All right. Nakuha po ba?
Opo.
Okay. So letter B, what will be your answer sa letter B? Debit?
Cash.
Debit. Naka-receive siya ng 72,000. Debit cash.
Debit cash.
Credit.
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 Rent revenue.
Rent revenue.
Rent revenue or rent income. Magkano po?
72,000.
All right. That's correct. And then letter C, the company received a 90-day, 12%, 200,000 pesos face value note from a customer. The note is dated December 1, 2020. What will be your entry here? Original journal entry.
Interest
Receivable.
receivable po.
Credit.
Ano yung original journal entry natin? Original journal entry. Ano ba yung transaction na yan? The company received. Ano ba yung na-receive niya?
Notes receivable.
Notes receivable. Nakuha po ba? So, our entry will be debit to notes receivable and then credit.
Accounts receivable.
Accounts receivable.
Credit
Sales.
All right. So, pwedeng accounts receivable. No? Wala naman sinabi na direct sales yung ginawa. Diba? So, it could be a payment through the issuance of a notes receivable. Ng promissory note. No? So, debit notes receivable, 200,000 and then credit. Sales or credit accounts receivable, 200,000 pesos. So, pero mas prefer ko yung sales. If the problem is silent, ang credit entry nyo is lagi sales. Nakuha po ba, class? Kapag walang sinabi, receive from a customer for a payment of accounts receivable or for a payment of an open account. So, doon yung magiging sagot nyo is accounts receivable. Pero kapag yung problem is silent, then that automatically means to say na that is a sales transaction. Pero for the meantime, since this is our first time na maka-encounter ng ganyang problem, okay to, gamitin natin. I-accept ko yung inyong entry. So debit notes receivable, credit sales, accounts receivable, 200,000, 200,000. Letter D. So letter D, All right, class. So letter D.
Salaries expense.
All right. Sorry, class. Okay, so just sorry, class. So let's just. All right, class. Sorry, apologies about that. So I have two clients who are calling. So probably I will answer them later after our class discussion. So balikan natin. Sana tayo? Letter D.
D po.
Salaries are paid on the 5th and 20th day of the month. Monthly salaries are estimated to be 120,000 pesos. So what will be our entry here? Anong entry po natin dito? Debit, letter D.
Salaries expense.
Salaries expense.
Salaries expense, credit, credit,
Salaries.
Salaries.
debit, salaries expense, and then credit.
Salaries payable.
Salaries payable.
Yun muna tayo sa ano ha, original journal entries.
Cash
Ano
po.
kaya yung
Cash.
Yeah, cash. Kasi nagbayad siya ng cash from hanggang 20th day. Nakuha po ba? So magkano yung binayaran niya hanggang 20th day of the month?
60,000.
60,000 po.
60? Tama po ba?
80,000.
120.
120,000 po.
Ang monthly salaries daw is 120. So, ilang
80,000.
days ba sa 1 month? Di ba? 30 days. So, 120, tas ilang days yung nabayaran na? Ilang
20 days.
20
20 po.
days. So,
80,000 lang.
120 times 20 days over 30 days, that's
80,000.
80,000.
80,000.
Ayan, that's 80,000. All right, so alam na natin yung original journal entry.
Sir, pwedeng magtanong.
Yes po, sige po.
Yung pwede pong ano ulit nung sa problem.
Asan po? Saan?
Sa problem, sir.
Okay, sige po.
Ang ano po kasi, sir, sabi, salaries are paid on the 5th and 20th day. So, every 5th, kaya hindi po namin ni-record yung hanggang 30.
Opo, that's correct po. Tama po. So, imagine ninyo, paid siya on the 5th and 20th day of the month. So, that means to say, ang paid po is until 20th. So, ano po kaya yung entry natin?
Okay, sir. Salamat po.
Alright po. Okay po. So, nagbayad tayo hanggang 20th days lang. No? So, 20 days lang. So, magkano yung 20 days ng 120,000? 80,000 pesos. Ayan po. Okay, so alam na natin yung original journal entries. Now, pwede na natin, may idea na tayo for adjusting journal entry. So, what will be our adjusting journal entry for letter A? So, what will be our adjusting journal entry? Sige po, anyone from the class, you can answer now. What will be our adjusting entry here?
Debit prepaid insurance.
Debit
21
prepaid insurance.
21,000. Credit insurance expense.
Okay, insurance expense, magkano po? 21,000.
21,000.
That's correct. Sa letter B, what will be your adjusting journal entries? Debit.
Debit rent income.
Rental income and then credit.
Unearned
Rent. Magkano po?
24,000.
24,000. 24,000. Paano natin nakuha yung 24,000 na unearned rent? Paano po natin nakuha, class?
72,000
times 4/12.
Times 4/2. So that's correct. And then next one, for notes receivable, what will be our adjusting entry? Debit,
Interest receivable.
interest receivable, and then credit.
Interest
Interest
income.
income or interest revenue. Tama rin po yun. So, ano pong amount? Magkano po?
2,000.
2,000.
2,000 pesos. 2,000 pesos. Paano na-compute? That's 200,000 pesos times
Times
12%
12%.
times 30 over 6. 360. All right. And then, for the salaries expense, adjusting entry natin, debit salaries expense, and then credit
Salaries payable.
salaries payable. So, magkano po yun?
40,000.
40,000. 40,000. Paano na-compute? 120,000 pesos times 10 days over 30 days. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba, class?
Yes po.
Alright. Okay. So, mayroon pang tanong dito sa problem, di ba? Ano daw ang effect sa 2020 profit if the above adjustments were omitted? So, what if the prepaid insurance was omitted? Hindi na i-record ang prepaid insurance. Will the net income be overstated or understated?
Under po.
Understated.
Overstated.
Understated or overstated?
Overstated.
Overstated.
Overstated po.
Understated po.
So what will be the effect? Anong effect, class?
Understated.
Understated.
Understated by how much? 21,000.
21.
Kasi bakit siya understated? Kasi sobra yung insurance expense na nakalagay. Nakukuha po ba? Kapag ang rent income walang adjustment na ginawa, what is the effect on the net income? Under or over?
Overstated.
po.
Overstated. Nang magkano?
24,000.
4,000. So dapat nating ibawas kasi over nga, no? And then kapag hindi na i-record yung interest receivable, will the net income be over or under?
Understated.
Understated.
Understated. So understated by how much? 2,000.
2,000.
And then kapag ang salaries expense hindi na record, anong effect sa net income?
Overstated.
Overstated. By how much?
40,000.
Dapat bawasan. How much is the total overstatement or understatement? Over or under? Magkano yung total net?
Over.
Over. So overstated siya by how much?
41,000.
41,000. So the total effect on the net income is overstated by 41,000 pesos. Yeah. All right. So let's try to answer exercise number 4. Yeah. So let's try to answer exercise number 4. Check natin ito. Adjusting entries. Adjusting and reversing entries pala to. When the accounts of Grim Reaper Incorporated are examined, the adjusting data listed below are uncovered on December 31, the end of the annual fiscal year. The prepaid insurance account shows a debit balance of 54,000 pesos, representing the cost of 1-year fire insurance policy dated August 1 of the current year. Number 2, on November 1, rental income was credited for 90,000, representing income from a sub-rental for 6-month period beginning on that date. Number 3, interest of 3,800 has occurred on notes payable. Number 4, estimated depreciation on equipment amounted to 75,000 pesos. Number 5, unearned fees balance includes 15,000 pesos that has been earned. And then number 6, it is estimated that 24,000 of the total accounts receivable balance at the end of the year will become uncollectible. Anong requirement? Prepare the adjusting entries. And then which above adjustments may be reversed in 2021. So bago natin ito sagutan, let's try to have an overview for adjustments and reversal. Adjusting entries and reversing entries. Yung adjustments, from our accounting point of view, this is required. Kailangan laging merong adjustment tayong ginagawa. We may also do reversing entries the following year, but that is optional. So ano yung mga required for adjusting entries? Sino-sino? Ano kaya yung mga ginagawa ng adjusting entries class? Anyone from the class? Yes, Erica.
Accrued expense and revenue, unearned revenue, prepayment, tsaka po yung mga depreciation, amortization po.
That's correct. No? So all accruals, tama po yun. All accruals required na i-adjust. Ano ba yung accruals na yon? We have accrued expense. One example is interest expense. Another one is accrued income. One example is interest income. So, yan. So, accrued interest expense. Ayan. Accrued interest expense and then accrued interest income. So, all accruals need for adjustment. Second one is all deferrals. Ano naman yung mga deferrals na yon? We have the deferred expense, also known as prepaid expense, and deferred income, also known as unearned income. Meron din tayong tinatawag na bid groups. Ano naman yung bid groups na yon, class? Bid group stands for bad debts, inventory, and then depreciation. So ano yung mga need for adjustment? All accruals, all deferrals, and then the bid groups. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba, class?
Yes,
Yes po.
Yes po.
Alright. Now, for reversal, although it is optional to do reversing entries, however, we need this kasi merong mga following reasons. Una, to simplify the accounting transactions and reduce the errors. Ikalawa, because of voluminous transactions. And then ikatlo, because of consistency principle. Yeah. So, dito muna tayo sa voluminous transaction. Yung number one kasi madali lang naman siya maintindihan. To simplify accounting transactions and to reduce errors. Pangalawa, voluminous transaction. Magbigay lang ako ng isang example. Ayan. So, let's try. Example, banks. Ang banks normally, meron silang thousands of clients. So, imagine niyo yung bangko, maraming client siya, di ba? So, maraming client ang bangko. Kung ikaw yung accountant, kapag at the end of every month, mag-a-accrue ka ng interest nila, di ba? Kasi may mga deposit sila sa inyo. So, you do the following accruals. So, you have the books ni bank. Tapos, syempre sa books ni customer. Si customer magre-record sa kanila. So, anong entry mo kapag ikaw yung accountant ng bank? Debit, interest expense, and then credit, interest payable. Ito yung entry mo bilang accountant ng bangko. Yan yung iyong entry. And then sa entry naman ni customer, sa kanya, sa side niya, debit, interest receivable, and then credit, interest income. Siyempre, na-expect niya makaka-receive siya ng interest doon sa deposit niya. The following year, anong mangyayari? Magre-record ka ng adjustment, accrual. Diba? So, paano ka magre-record ng accrual class? Debit, pag nabayaran ka na, kapag nabayaran na ng bank, yun pala, yung ibig sabihin, kapag nabayaran na ng bank si customer, what will be your entry? Ikaw yung accountant ng bank. Ito yung adjusting entry mo, debit, interest expense, credit, interest payable. Sabihin natin 1,000 yung interest niya ni customer. Ano yung adjusting entry mo or entry mo upon payment pala? Ano yung entry mo upon payment kapag magbabayad na kayo ng 1,000? Debit?
Interest payable.
Interest payable. And then credit?
Cash.
Credit cash. Diba? You credit cash. Nakukuha po ba? So yan po ang iyong entry. So lumalabas, imaginein mo kapag may 1,000 clients, tapos ang dami mong ginawang accrual. Ang ginawan mo lang ng accrual pala, marami kang ginawang accrual, pero ang ginawan mo lang talaga ng accrual is 7,568 clients, 'di ba? Na ginawan mo ng accruals. Yan. So, ginawan mo ng accruals yung 7,568 clients. So, nilagyan mo siya ng accruals, okay, with accruals of interest. So, syempre, hindi naman lahat ng client pare-pareho yung setup na monthly, merong interest accruals, or yung iba kasi quarterly lang yung bayad sa interest. So, depende. So, ikaw bilang accountant, ginawan mo ang 7,568 clients. So, can you monitor the 7,568 clients kung kailan sila babayaran or kung kailan sila mag-a-accrue? And then, how will you know na itong client mo is na-accruhan mo before, noong December 31? So, you don't know. Nakuha po ba? So, mamaya magkamali ka. Nakuha po ba? Sabihin natin, dito tayo sa isa. Ayan. Sige tayo dito ng ano. Ayan. Sabihin natin si client 1, gumawa ka ng accrual. So, naggumawa ka ng accrual entry or adjusting entry. So, what will be your adjusting entry kay client 1? Debit, interest, expense. Ayan. Interest expense, 1,000. And then credit, interest, payable, 1,000. Kay client 2, kay client 2, wala kang ginawang accrual entry. So, no accrual entry. Diba? No accrual entry for client 2. So, syempre, upon payment, kay client 1 and client 2, so, payment na. Payment date. What will be your entry? Sa payment date, debit, interest, payable, 1,000 pesos. And then you credit, cash, 1,000 pesos. Ano naman ang entry mo kay client 2? Debit, what will be your entry here, class? Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
po.
So, wala kang ginawang accrual entry kay client 2. So, supposedly, what will be your entry here sa payment date ni client 2? Debit, supposedly, it should be interest expense. And then credit,
Cash.
Sabihin natin 1,000 din yung babayaran mo sa kanya. 1,000. So, yan yung iyong dapat gagawin. Diba? So, dahil madaming client kayong imo-monitor, mahirap sa atin bilang accountant na i-check na, ay, sa kay client 1 pala, may accrual ako, kay client 2 wala. So, ang gagawin natin, for the purpose na mapadali yung ating transaction, diba? Sa pag-record, hindi na natin kailangang i-monitor yung lahat ng accruals natin, the following year or the following accounting period, we need to do reversal. Diba? So, syempre, ano ba yung i-reverse natin? Ano yung i-reverse natin? Ayan, itong accrual. So, the following year, i-reverse natin siya. So, instead na ganito yung entry natin, debit, interest, expense. So, by complete reversal of the entry we have done sa December 31. So, ayan po. Tama po ba? Ayan, okay. So, Sir Mike. Okay. Ayan. So, upon payment, your entry will be debit, interest expense, and then credit, cash na. So, ano nangyari? Etong interest expense mo dito, na in-entry mo, tapos yung reversal entry mo, the following year, mag-zero out na to. Nakukuha po ba? So, nag-zero out itong dalawa na to kasi nag-credit ka ng interest expense as a reversing entry and then nag-debit ka ng interest expense upon payment. So, lumalabas yung consolidated entry, diba? Yung consolidated entry natin is debit, interest payable, and credit cash. So, lumalabas parang, ito rin yung entry mo, di ba? Yan. So, at least hindi mo na i-monitor yung iyong client, bawat client. So, balikan natin ito ulit kay client 1 sa kay client 2. Ayan. So, nakikita pa po ba ako, class? Nakikita pa po yung screen ko? Napapakinggan pa po ba
Yes
ako?
po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
Alright, so kay client 1, may accrual entry siya. Tapos kay client 2, no accrual entry. So, syempre, anong gagawin natin sa reversal? Okay, yan. Sa the following year, meron tayong reversing, ayan, reversing entry. So, what will be our reversing entry? You debit interest payable and then credit interest expense. So magkano yung interest payable mo saka interest expense? Debit 1,000 pesos and then credit 1,000 pesos. Dito, syempre, no entry ka rin. Wala kang gagawin na entry kasi i-monitor mo lang naman lahat magkano yung total accruals na ginawa mo, i-reverse mo lang the following year. So madali lang naman yung makita. So sa upon payment date, ang entry mo is not interest payable, kundi interest expense. So debit interest expense, 1,000 pesos and then credit cash. Kasi ito pong debit mo na interest expense na to, upon payment, na zero out siya by doing reversing entry na interest expense. So lumalabas, ito ay parang nagawa mo din yung tamang entry. Diba? So, hindi mo na kailangan i-monitor. Nakukuha po ba, class? Nagigets po ba?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Yan po. So, yan po. Ganyan po siya. So, let's say, sabihin natin, si client 2, wala naman talagang accrual, walang i-accrue sa kanya, kaya wala kang ginawang accrual entry. So, wala ring reversing entry dahil wala naman talagang accrual entry na dapat gawin. So, the following month, magbabayad ng interest dahil yung month na yun talaga is maganda yung interest rate niya. So, nagbayad siya interest expense, 1,000, and then credit cash, 1,000. So, tama yung kanyang entry. Alright. So, yan po. So, that's the purpose of the reversing entry. And then, last one is because of consistency principle. Yan. Okay. So, paano yung consistency principle? Sabihin natin expense method. Expense method yung ginagamit niya kapag bumibili siya ng mga prepaid expenses. So, every time na meron siyang binibiling office supplies, nagbabayad siya sa insurance premium, puro expense method yung ginagamit niya. So, the following year, at the end of the year, kailangan niya mag-create ng adjusting entries to reflect the unused portion, di ba? So, syempre, yung reversing entries for consistency principle, you have to reverse the accruals you've made or adjustments you've made at the end of the year para maging consistent ka, expense method yung sinusunod mo. All right. So going back here, ano yung mga need for reversals? Ano yung mga pwedeng i-reverse? Anyone from the class? Yes, Jinmi. Ano pa yung pwedeng i-reverse?
Yung mga nakakapag-increase lang po ng assets tsaka po ng liabilities. Like for example po yung accrued expenses kasi 'di ba yung entry po doon expense liability. So nai-increase po yung liability account. Tapos po yung accrued revenue, tapos yung deferred expenses po expense method lang po. Kasi sa pag-expense method lang nag-i-increase po yung asset account po natin. Tapos ano naman po, deferred deferred ano naman po, sa deferred ang method lang po yung revenue po kasi nag-i-increase po yung liability account po.
That's correct. So tama si Jinmei. Kapag nag-reverse ka ng entry, ang pwede mo lang i-reverse is all accruals. So lahat ng accruals pwedeng i-reverse. Deferrals, magre-reverse ka lang kapag ang ginamit mong method ay expense method. So for deferred expense. And then kapag sa income method, sa deferred income naman or unearned income, ang ginamit mong method ay income method. Yung bid groups, no need for reversing entries. Ayan po. Alright, so tama po siya. Tama po si Jean. Ayan. Okay, so lagyan natin dito, emphasize natin. Ito yung mga need for reversals. All accruals and then deferrals under expense method and income method. So let's go back to our problem. Prepare the necessary adjusting entries. So try natin number 4. Ano yan? And exercise 4. So So what will be our entry sa number 1? Adjusting entry natin. Anong adjusting entry natin dito, class? Debit. Yes, Nicole. Sige po. Debit.
Insurance expense po, credit prepaid insurance.
Yes, that's correct. So debit insurance expense and then credit prepaid insurance. Magkano po?
22,500.
22,500. Okay. And then, pwede bang i-reverse ito? I-reverse po ba natin ito? Ano po bang sinabi?
Hindi po.
Hindi.
po.
Kasi ano ginamit? Asset.
Asset method po.
So, asset method siya. So, therefore, no entry. And then, second, anong adjusting entry natin for second transaction? Debit. Debit. Yes po. Sige po. Anyone can answer. Yes po. Debit.
Rental.
Rent revenue.
Rent income.
Rent income.
Unearned rent income.
Magkano po?
60,000.
60,000. Kailangan ba itong i-reverse the following year?
Opo.
Yes po.
Kasi anong method yung ginamit?
Revenue method.
Revenue method.
Income method or revenue method. So your reversing entry will be debit unearned rent income, credit rent income, 60,000, 60,000. All right. Number 3, interest of 3,800 has occurred on notes payable. What will be our adjusting entry? Debit?
Interest
Interest receivable. Interest
Credit interest.
Ulit po. Pakicheck
Interest
na.
expense po.
Interest expense.
po pala.
So, debit interest expense. Kasi notes payable, di ba? And then credit interest.
Payable.
Payable.
So, magkano? 3,800? 3,800. Pwede bang i-reverse?
Yes po.
Opo.
Yes po.
Kasi all accruals can be reversed. So, debit, interest payable, credit interest expense, 3,800, 3,800. Number 4, estimated depreciation on equipment amounted to 75,000 pesos. Magkano adjusting entries? Magkano adjusting entry? Anong adjusting entry natin, class?
Depreciation expense.
75,000.
Credit
Accumulated
Depreciation.
Alright. So, may reversing entry ba?
Wala po.
Wala po.
So, no entry. And then, number 5, unearned fees balance. What will be your adjusting entry? Debit.
Unearned fees.
Unearned fees and then credit. Earned fees
Earned
or fees income.
Fees earned po.
Yes, pwedeng fees earned. Ayan. Fees earned or fees income. So, ayan po. So, what will be the amount? 15,000 pesos, 15,000 pesos. Kailangan ba ng adjusting entry? Reversing entry pala, sorry.
Hindi po. Kasi po liability ginamit.
That's correct. And then last is, it is estimated that 24,000 of the accounts receivable will become uncollectible. What will be your adjusting entry? Debit. Debit.
expense.
Debit bad debts
Bad debts expense and then credit. Allowance for bad debts.
For bad debt.
Ano? 24,000.
24,000.
And then, need for reversing entry ba?
Wala po.
Alright, so no entry. So ano lang yung mga nire-reverse natin based on our class discussion? All accruals and then under deferrals kapag naka-expense method saka income method. Alright, class. So the following, next meeting pala. Next meeting, we will try to answer other examples. Pero kukuha na lang ako. Mamimili na lang ako so we can move on with our other class discussion naman. So, isasend ko po tonight yung chapter 2 naman natin for auditing problems. Then, please try to read your auditing theory for audit planning naman. So, yung audit planning natin. So, next meeting natin, magdi-discuss tayo for 2 subjects. All right, class. So thank you so much for your time and effort in joining this class discussion. I hope you learned something new. Have a good dinner today. Class dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you to
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Goodbye
Thank you,
po.
sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.